Radio and television be at your fingertips. Get news and current events, entertainment, sports, kiddies programs, and more at your beck and call on Al-IyamoyeTv and radio. Just visit and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on all social media platforms. Then you are a global citizen. Al-IyamoyeTv and radio, voice of the voiceless.
A lovely Monday morning, of course, the 25th day in the month of September 2023. Beautiful Monday morning, and I'm sure it is a beautiful one on the other side where you're watching and you're listening on Al-IyamoyeTV and your radio. Of course, as we start a new week, we pray that we will enjoy all the blessings and goodness that comes with it. Welcome to Freshlight on Al-IyamoyeTV and radio, and of course on Freshlight we'll take you through some of the headlines and stories in our different newspapers and dailies, definitely this morning. My name is Modupe, Akinyosoye. All right, I have, as usual, a couple of newspapers this morning. I have the Punch newspaper, I have the Vanguard, I have the D-State, and I have the Nation newspaper. All right, let's kickstart with the Punch newspaper. What we have on the front page of the Punch newspaper. We have a couple of headlines. The $10 billion debt, CBN defaults on payment to banks, dollars near 1,000 naira. We have that with double riders with, on page 2 in the Punch newspaper. Away from that, NNPCL swaps 2.6 trillion naira crude for refined products. You have it on page 24. The Punch newspaper. Outrage as bandits hold 21 Zamfara varsity female students. Page 14 captures that story. 40 million Nigerian children from poor families. World Bank revealing that on page 23 in the Punch newspaper. Away from that, we also have pay 2022 with L salaries, ASU tells federal government. Then on page 7 in the Punch newspaper. NDLEA intercepts 4,000 kilograms of illicit drugs and arrest 12 suspects. Page 4 and 5 braces that very story. Ogun APC PDP trade wars over Shagamu cold killings. You have it on page 7 in the Punch newspaper. And of course you get to see the picture of Banjoko Junction along the Igobayeku Road, the Korodu Lagos State on Sunday, which was flooded basically after the rainfall. All right, let's quickly go through the pages of the Punch newspaper to get to see a couple of the stories we have. We'll start with the $10 billion debt. CBN defaults on payment to banks, dollar nears 1,000 naira. Over 2 weeks after the Central Bank of Nigeria promised to clear over $10 billion foreign exchange debt owed to Deposit Money Bank, the Apex Bank has yet to do so, according to findings by the Punch. And this came as the naira was sold between 990 naira per dollar and 995 per dollar by Bureau of the Change operators on Friday and Saturday in Lagos, Abuja, and Kano. On the investor and exporter forex window, the naira, however, appreciated to 747.76 naira per dollar on Friday from 772 naira 98 kobo per dollar on Thursday. You got the details of that in the Punch newspaper. $10 billion debt. Away from that very business story, let's get to see an update right here that says on concrete roads, cement price to hit 9,000 naira, say manufacturers. The Cement Producers Association of Nigeria has warned that the ongoing plan of the federal government to introduce concrete roads will raise the price of cement to 9,000 naira per bag from the current price of 5,000 naira. It also called on the current administration to permanently address the perennial cement price hike problem by facilitating larger participation in the cement industry, noting that Nigerians have no business buying cement for more than 5,000 naira, 5,600 naira per bag. Concrete roads, cement price naira, say manufacturers. And that's in the Punch newspaper. Away from that very story, let's get to take a trip to a neighboring state. That's Lagos State with a Punch. Tight security as Lagos Tribunal prepares for judgment. Security has been beefed up at the Roslyn Omotosho Courthouse, Ikeja, as the Lagos State Election Petitions Tribunal is set to deliver judgment to petitions challenging the election of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu. The People's Democratic Party governorship candidate for the state in the March 18 poll, Abdulaziz Adeniro, also known as Jando, and his Labour Party counterpart, Mr. Badibo Road Survival, filed the petitions. And security operatives took over the main entrance of the courthouse, screening journalists, lawyers, and others before they could gain entrance. From the Punch, tight security as Lagos Tribunal prepares for judgment. Away from that, we also let's quickly take a trip out of the country to Libya, an African country, with a Punch. Libya orders arrest of 8 officials over flooding. Libya's prosecutor general on Monday ordered the arrest of 8 officials as part of his inquiry into the recent flood disaster which killed thousands, his office said. The flash flood, which witnesses likened to a tsunami, broke through 2 aging dams on September 10 after a hurricane-strength storm lashed the area around Derna, a port city in Libya east. The officials are suspected of bad management and negligence. A statement from the Prosecutor General's office said, adding that they served currently or previously in offices responsible for water resources and dam management. From the Punch, on the foreign scene, Libya ordered arrest of 8 officials over flooding. Back to Nigeria with the Punch newspaper, we have the story on tuition fee. 50% of students may drop out in 2 years, says ASU. With a writer that says student loan policy will fail. The president of the Academic Staff Union of University, Professor Emmanuel Shodeke, has raised the alarm over the looming 40 to 50% of students whom he predicts may drop out of school within the next 2 years if the federal government fails to stop the continuous fee hike in the universities. Shodeke made this known while speaking on the current situation in the Nigerian education sector on Channels TV on Sunday night. And according to him, the heavy fees being imposed on students across the nation would result in a massive dropout of students due to their inability to cope with the payment. On tuition hike, 50% of students may drop out in 2 years, says ASU from the Punch. And also, we have reports from the Punch that says anxiety as forex scarcity halts petrol importation. Oil marketers are increasingly worried that they can't import petrol due to the dollar shortage in the country, and despite the deregulation of the downstream sector, concerns have been raised about the potential comeback of the country's persistent fuel scarcity. And of course, expectations were high when oil marketers conversed for the removal of fuel subsidies and deregulation of the downstream sector. You get the rest of that very story, written by Okwe Oluwani Akitayo from the Punch newspaper. Anxiety as forex scarcity halts petrol importation. Away from the Punch, let's get to see what we have in the Nation newspaper. But let's start with the front page of the Nation newspaper. All right, from the front page of the Nation, federal government steps up action against the rising insecurity. We have that with a couple of riders, double riders to be precise. President gives marching order. Owanese ACF raised dust over killings and kidnappings. And away from that, also from the front page, what Cardoso should do as CBN boss by financial experts. You get that from page 17, the column page from page 17 in the Nation newspaper. Owners of revoked 189 Abuja plots get 3 months relief. Page 5 captures that in the Nation newspaper. And also from the front page of the Nation, give Nigeria new constitution, Afe Babalola urges AGF. Page 6 captures that. African equities lead global stock market returns. You have it on page 17 in the Nation newspaper. Also from the front page of business report, UBA okays $6 billion for SMEs across Africa. You have it on page 6 in the Nation. And also, cement producers seek measures to court price. That's also resurfacing on the front page of The Nation. You get details on page 6, or in page 6 in The Nation newspaper. 544.2 billion naira COVID-19 loan debtors put under watch. You have that with a rider. Defaulters blocked from credit. Page 5 captures the details of that very story. Don't tamper with nation's power assets during strike. Minister wants with a rider on page 4 in The Nation newspaper with details. And of course, you get to see on oil theft. JTF arrests 8 vessels laden with over 100,000 liters of diesel in rivers. Page 31 captures that very story. And of course, on the front page of The Nation, you get to see sitting former Senate President and also former House of Representatives Speaker, and you get to see Aminu Tambuwa, Femi Gbadagbiamila, and Speaker Tajuddin Abbas during the National Assembly Leadership Retreat in Akwa Ibom State. You get to see the picture of them right on the front page of The Nation newspaper. Away from that, let's see, go through the stories we have in The Nation newspaper. We have this very updated report. Fire God Supreme Court building. A fire incident was recorded on Monday morning at the Supreme Court. It was gathered that the incident, which affected about 3 offices, including that of Justice Ibrahim Saulawa, was caused by electrical fault. The fire has since been put off by the fire service officials stationed in the court. And the court spokesman, Dr. Festus Akode, confirmed the development, which he described as a minor incident. From The Nation, updated Fire God Supreme Court building, the rest of that in The Nation newspaper. Away from that, we have also a report from The Nation. Federal government steps up action against rising insecurity. With double right. Invaded the campus of Federal University, Gusau, and kidnapped an unspecified number of people.
Thousands have been disappointed severally in their bid to seek greener pasture abroad. To those quack in the traveling agency business, it is a rocket science. That is not our case at Tausaf Travels and Tour. We have in-depth details on how to successfully, without stress, help you process and secure your visa to anywhere in the world. Do you want permanent residential visa, visiting and tourism visa, student visa to places like Europe, America, Asia, Africa? It's no big deal to us at Tausaf Travels and Tour. Our years of experience and expertise speaks volume for us. Let's process and secure visa for you to UK, USA, and Canada within a twinkle of an eye. We offer Hajj and Umrah services to our Muslim faithfuls. What are you waiting for? Consult us at number 9 Tausaf Central Mosque, Sholanke Street, behind Laroy Laroy Hotel, Abiola Way, Abeokuta. 0802 733 0900 or 0806 578 4060. Stop wasting money. Pay for peace of mind. Talk to Tausoft Travels and Tour.
Gbogbo aláfẹ́ tó gbayì tó fẹ́ wọṣọ yìí ṣoge tó bágbàmú ló ń kọjá lọ sí House of Zayana. House of Zayana, the name I know when we talk of top-notch fashion, quality materials and class. House of Zayana, lẹ́tí máa rójúlówó Turkey wears, Egypt and Malaysia clothing, Dubai, àwọn designer bags lóríṣiríṣi, àwọn ìtẹ̀lẹ̀ bàtà tó jiná tí wọ́n fawọ́ original ṣe, àwọn aago kajọ́ tó ń ka wákàtí ọjọ́, designer sunglasses and perfumes, pẹ̀lú àwọn gbogbo nǹkan tóbìnrin àsìkò fi ń gbafẹ́ lò gbà. Mo débẹ̀ ojú mi ń ṣe kámi, èmi ni ó rà, èmi ni ó mú. Gbogbo ẹ̀yin mùsùlùmí ẹlẹ́sìn tẹ́ gbòógè gbọ́n pa fashion tẹ́ wá nílò jàlábíà, hijab àti àbáyà lóríṣiríṣi. House of Zayana lẹ́ ò ti rí gbogbo ẹ̀ rà. House of Zayana wà ní 52 Ọlọ́run ṣògo road adjacent Redeemed Church Agape Parish Ọlọ́run ṣògo Abẹ́òkúta. Lórí Instagram House of Zayana 08165688618. House of Zayana, ilé ìtajà tá a ti ń tojúlówó aṣọ àti nǹkan aṣaralóge tí ń gbéni níyì.
Thousands have been disappointed severally in their bid to seek greener pasture abroad. To those quack in the traveling agency business, it is a rocket science. That is not our case at Tausoft Travels and Tour. We have in-depth details on how to successfully, without stress, help you process and secure your visa to anywhere in the world. Do you want permanent residential visa, visiting and tourism visa, student visa to places like Europe, America, Asia, Africa? It's no big deal to us at Tausoft Travels and Tour. Our years of experience and expertise speaks volume for us. Let's process and secure visa for you to UK, USA, and Canada within a twinkle of an eye. We offer Hajj and Umrah services to our Muslim faithfuls. What are you waiting for? Consult us at number 9 Tausoft Central Mall, Sholanke Street, behind Laroy Hotel, Abiola Way, Abeokuta. 0802 733 0900 or 0806 578 4060. Stop wasting money. Pay for peace of mind. Talk to Tausoft Travels and Tour.
Gbogbo aláfẹ́ tó gbayì tó fẹ́ wọṣọ yìí ṣoge tó bágbàmú ló ń kọjá lọ sí House of Zayana. House of Zayana, the name I know when we talk of top-notch fashion, quality materials and class. House of Zayana, lẹ́tí máa rójúlówó Turkey wears, Egypt and Malaysia clothing, Dubai, àwọn designer bags lóríṣiríṣi, àwọn ìtẹ̀lẹ̀ bàtà tó jiná tí wọ́n fawọ́ original ṣe, àwọn aago kajọ́ tó ń ka wákàtí ọjọ́, designer sunglasses and perfumes, pẹ̀lú àwọn gbogbo nǹkan tóbìnrin àsìkò fi ń gbafẹ́ lò gbà. Mo débẹ̀ ojú mi ń ṣe kámi, èmi ni ó rà, èmi ni ó mú. Gbogbo ẹ̀yin mùsùlùmí ẹlẹ́sìn tẹ́ gbòógè gbọ́n pa fashion tẹ́ wá nílò jàlábíà, hijab àti àbáyà lóríṣiríṣi. House of Zayana lẹ́ ò ti rí gbogbo ẹ̀ rà. House of Zayana wà ní 52 Ọlọ́run ṣògo road adjacent Redeemed Church Agape Parish Ọlọ́run ṣògo Abẹ́òkúta. Lórí Instagram House of Zayana 08165688618. House of Zayana, ilé ìtajà tá a ti ń tojúlówó aṣọ àti nǹkan aṣaralóge tí ń gbéni níyì.
Thank you so much. You're still on to Freshlight on Al-IyamoyeTv and radio, and still going through a couple of stories in our newspapers this morning. All right, we pick up the This Day newspaper. Let's get to see what we have on the front page of the This Day newspaper. All right, we have this very story from the This Day. NLC insists on indefinite strike, says federal government adds enough time to resolve dispute. You have that with the rider. Business operators to government labor, incessant industrial action, bad for alien economy, demarketing Nigeria. You have that right on page 5 in the This Day newspaper. Away from that, we also have from the front page of the This Day, Atiku's aide attacks Tinubu again, releases lists of administration's 10 big lies in 119 days. You have that with double riders. Page 5 captures that very story. Away from that, France to pull troops out of Niger following coup. Page 5 also captured that very story. From the D-State, Tinubu orders security to rescue abducted Gusau varsity student. With the writer, ACF condemns development. You have it on page 5 in the D-State newspaper. Also from the front page of the D-State, President will revamp Nigeria's economy, boost energy sector, says Ron, FLNG boss, revealing that on page 34 in the D-State newspaper. And also from the front page of the D-State, you get to see the picture right here. King's College or Old Boys Annual Dinner right on the front page of the D-State newspaper. Away from that, let's get to see what we have in the D-State newspaper. All right, let's start with this very story. Federal government negotiating with Zamfara terrorists. Governor Lawal alleges, with the writer says move retrogressive. Zamfara State Governor Dauda Lawal has accused the federal government of negotiating with terrorist groups in the area. The Zamfara State government has received reports of how some federal government delegations met with different bandit groups in Benin, Magaji, Maradu, Munhaye, Aja, Baiwo, and Bagege. Lawal said in a statement on Monday by his chief press secretary, Suleiman Bala Idris. The rest of that you get to see in the D-State newspaper with that very story. Also from the D-State, you have varsity lecturer task government on vigorous research to move the country forward. A professor of polymer in the Faculty of Science, Federal University of Lokoja, Kogi State, Benjamin Mupa Dauda, has called on the government and captains of industries to invest vigorously in research as part of efforts to move the country forward. He also urged the government to put the academicians on their toes with researches on critical and development issues. Professor Dauda, who made the call while delivering his inaugural lecture at the university, decried the dearth of research and development departments in most industries and corporate organizations in the country. Varsity lecturer task government on vigorous research to move country forward. You have that in the D-State newspaper. And also, let's get to see if we have also a report from the D-State newspaper. All right, this one says TRCN induct 296 graduates of Osun University into teaching profession. The Registrar and Chief Executive of Teachers Registration Council of Nigeria, Professor Josiah Olusegun Ajiboye, at the weekend inducted into the teaching profession 296 graduates of the College of Education of the Osun State University for 2021-2022 and 2022-2023 academic sessions. The graduates are professionals that sat and passed the qualifying examination of the TRCN recently. From the D-State, TRCN induct 296 graduates of Osun University teaching hospital profession. Away from the D-State, let's run it up with the Vanguard newspaper and get to see what we have on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper. NLC battles OPS over stand on planned nationwide strike. You have that with several riders on page 5 in the Vanguard newspaper. Away from that, Sarah to Tinubu. Probe missing $1.5 billion, 200 billion naira oil revenues. They have that on page 4 in the Vanguard newspaper. Away from that, Nnamdi Kanu's attorney Bruce Fain renews call for his release. You also get that report on page 8 and page 13 in the Vanguard newspaper. Also from the front page of the Vanguard, Wike revokes 22 allocations, gives 21 embassies 168 others 3 months grace. You have that on page 3 in the Vanguard newspaper. Away from that, also from the Vanguard, on hunger, Tinubu will revamp Nigeria's economy, boost energy sector. Ron revealing that, FLNG boss revealing that on page 3 in the Vanguard newspaper. Away from that very story, also from the front page of the Vanguard, On NG Eagle, expert fault NCAA's transfer of AOC to new owners. You also have that on page 26 in the Vanguard. Kidnap in Zamfara. Rescue remaining female varsity students. Tinubu others security agencies. You have that on page 6 in the Vanguard newspaper. Away from that, manufacturers incur heavy losses as forex crisis, inflation bites harder. That on page 14 in the Vanguard. And also from the Vanguard, diphtheria kills 10 as Jigawa records suspected cases. That rather shocking update from page 6 in the Vanguard. And also you get to see sports headline on the front page that says on NYG 2023, Olarioye means 3 gold medals for Team Lagos in weightlifting. Page 31 captures the sports story. Quickly going through the Vanguard newspaper, let's get to see a report on the fire that gutted the Supreme Court. Fire outbreak won't affect presidential election petition, says Supreme Court. Festus Akonde, the public relations officer for the court, says the fire incident that occurred on Monday morning has no connection and won't have an effect on the presidential election petition. Vanguard reported earlier that a wing of the Supreme Court complex situated at the 3 Arms Zone, Abuja, was engulfed by fire on Monday morning. Fire outbreak won't affect presidential election petition, says Supreme Court. Also, we have also a report on the fire. No casualties recorded. Supreme Court spokesperson Festus Akode says the Supreme Court has dismissed claims that 3 were casualties from the fire that broke out in one of the chambers of the Apex Court. The spokesperson of the Supreme Court, Festus Akode, dismissed this allegation while speaking in an interview on Arise Television on Monday. The rest of that in the Vanguard newspaper. No casualties recorded. Supreme Court spokesperson Festus Keyamo revealing that. And also from the Vanguard, police reassure effort to rescue Zamfara kidnapped students. On kidnapping, Zamfara Police Command on Sunday reassured the General Police that the security operatives were making efforts to rescue the remaining kidnapped students of the Federal University Gusau from the kidnappers. And this is contained in a statement in Gusau by the Command's Police Public Relations Officer, PPRO, ASP Yazid Abubakar. On kidnapping, police reassure effort to rescue Zamfara kidnapped students. The Vanguard newspaper captured that very story. And let's get to see what sports story we have on the sports page of the Vanguard newspaper. All right, we have this very story. Nigeria pays lip service to sports development. That's not coming from me, coming from Igali. Olympic gold medalist Daniel Igali has lamented that Nigeria only pays lip service to sports development, given the zero allocation by the government to sports federations. Speaking to reporters at the Stephen Keshi Stadium, Asaba, a venue of the ongoing 7th National Youth Games, Igali, who is the Commissioner of Sport in Bayelsa State, said that government only draws up a budget for sports competitions. You get the rest of what Igali has to say on sport development in the Vanguard newspaper. Nigeria pays lip service to sports development, says Igali. And on that note, we draw the courts of this morning of Freshlight on Al-IyamoyeTv and radio. Thank you so much. Don't forget to follow us on all social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Al-IyamoyeTv and radio. On the X platform at Iyamoye_TV. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel at Al-IyamoyeTV and radio and turn on your alarm button to get more notification. Thank you so much. I remain Modupe Akinyosoye. Good morning.